Hello, welcome back to my channel. Most of the times I be alone, not lonely but alone. In this alone time what I do is I read books. I read a lot of books, lot of categories books. It's thrilling or fantasy or philosophy or whatever it takes, I don't care. I just have to read it. So you can call it as a hobby or just a book addict or whatever it is, I don't care. Only one thing is sure that it has changed my life. So today I brought you 5 intellectual books that changed my life, not partially but forever. Every book I talk about here will be on the description below so that you can buy one of these if you want. The first book I'm going to talk about is The Practicing the Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. This is very small and tiny and contains only 145 pages, but it is so powerful, just like its title says, it's power. Even though it is published in 1997, but still it is a modern time favorite book, because all those things which has taught in this book, which is written in this book, is proven and easy to read and adopt in your daily life in order to become a happy person. It has some exercise and practices you can go through with it and to trick your mind to be happy. Throughout in this book, author has mentioned some of the specific and key factors to discover ourselves when we quiet our mind and see and accept the world as it is. What I love more about in this book is I never get bored, even after reading it so many times. Even you open it any pages randomly in this book and you start reading, you will see some of the key words which will reflect in your own eyes. And if you read over enough and over time and start practicing the exercises which is involved in this book, you will see some of the life-changing things will happen in your, not only in your life but your perspective about the world as well. Speaking of power, another book I like to recommend is Power of Myth. This book is originally from the PBS series of interview of Joseph Campbell with Bill Moyers in George Lucas Skywalker Ranch, California, and later in a museum of natural history in New York in 1985 and 86. I dropped some of the episodes in the link in the description below. You can go and watch it. The idea of this book is making this deep conversation into a forever. I mean, should not be making it limited or not to be erased. And for those who is long appreciated Campbell, this book of, what is that book? The Heroes with Thousand Faces. Throughout in this book, you will read the history of heroes and their journey and the sacrifice which they made for the goodness and blissfulness. And also you will read the myth, how it's influenced the modern world. The Power of Myth teaches the subject of modern marriage to virgin births. It will take you from the Jesus to John Lennon, and it offers the great combination of intelligence with wit. I want to remember the word which I read in this book where the Bill Moyers says, how do I slay that dragon in me? What's the journey each of us has to make? What you call the soul's high adventure? And Campbell replies, my general formula for my student is follow your bliss. Find where it is and don't be afraid to follow it. So what we have next? Yes, I got it. The Man and His Symbols by Carl Jung. This book is all about unconscious psychic mind. Jung talked about dream state of our mind, and he wrote this book because he should not want it to be limited to only psychiatrists. It should reach to the general public, and that's made me to write an article on unconsciousness. Link is in the description below, you can read it. Carl Jung specifically thought that our unconscious self has true knowledge about ourselves, and if you dig deep into it, you'll get some of the practical advice which carried by unconsciousness to conscious self. And he believes that self-understanding about ourselves will lead you to full and productive life. Jung also said that all those symbols you see has hidden meaning inside, and it is way beyond our language to explain. It is a human side constructed it whole thing unconsciously. While you're reading this book, you'll get some of the inside information about the unconsciousness, which will blow your mind. Throughout this book, the author has illustrated some of the symbols which is pictured in this book, so that readers can understand fully. Well, this is the Carl Jung's gift to the world. He just finished with this associate, this book, before his death. Well, I strongly recommend to buy this book and read it before you die. Another psychological book I would like to recommend is Flow by Csikszentmihalyi. Well, that is how its name is pronounced. The author wrote about the flow state of mind. Even though it is not a new topic, it has been there over the hundreds of years. All the philosophers has been talked about this book, but this author gone deep into it. He went to all certain experts about the flow state of mind, such as in certain areas like art, dance, music, successful businessmen, rock climbers, and with those who will see that general peoples, and with their experience when they are in the field of consciousness without being aware of it. Although specialists has been thought about this topic a long time ago, but the author and the researchers went closer into this optimal experience, and author showed it in a simple diagram, and it goes like this. Let's suppose consider that A represents you, and you are trying to set up a business where you first start learning how business works, and you don't have any prior experience, so you just have to do some learning and paperwork. That is you in A1 with low skills and less challenges, but you are in the flow. While doing often same thing every day, you will become bored, where you don't feel any excitement while learning theoretically. That's you in lower right corner, A2, high skills but low challenge. After enough of research and working frequently, you got to know that it's a time to do in practical. But you found there is a lot of big competitors in the business, so you need to take more challenges. Then you will get anxieties. That's you in A3 with low skills but more challenging. You can do three things. Either you can go back to your board work which you used to do, that is A2, or you just get back up and take more challenges by developing skills required and come back to the flow state, that is you in A4. This is not a book of how to. It is a book that tells you it is. We all have experience of the flow while we are doing what we love, whether it is while doing work or doing a hobby such as video game, whatever it is, it's just where you find it. What this book taught me is the happiness lies in flow state of our mind. Last but not the least, Freedom from the Known by Jiddu Krishnamurti. I would like to consider myself a lucky person by finding this book in early stage of my life, and I was confused after reading all those religious and spiritual books, which I thought will give me answer which the questions which I was seeking. What I love about Jiddu Krishnamurti is he has a clear-cut explanations about what he tells and what he wrote about. And while you're reading this book, reader will get some of the friendly experience about him and his thought. And this he has different language which will destroy all the mythological beliefs and illusion which we created and the pattern of religion and the people's dogma about it. In the entire book he thought about the evolution of a psychic of human being. He said it loud and clearly that universes cannot be brought by an external entity. The world is an individual entity, and the individual has the results of total experience and knowledge. And I would like to mention one quote which I read while I was reading this book, and this is how it goes. The question of whether or not there is God or truth or reality or whatever you like to call it can never be answered by books, by priests, philosopher or savior. Nobody and nothing can answer the question but you, yourself, and that is why you must know yourself. Immaturity lies in total ignorance of self. To understand yourself is the beginning of wisdom. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed this video as much as I did, put a thumbs up if you really like it, and subscribe for my weekly videos.